But you know what? You know how they say in modern literature and poetry, they say things like, the time is gone. Those days are gone. They're all just a fading memory now. But to Allah, those days, the ones that are gone for you, are eternal for Allah Azza wa Jal. He recorded your deeds in those days, and those are the fruits you're eating now. وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِشِمَالِهِ. And as for the one, whoever he was, handed his book in his left, فَيَقُول, then he says, يَا لَيْتَنِي لَمْ أُوتَ كِتَابِيَهْ. Oh, come on. No. If only I wasn't given this, my book. Please don't hand it to me. Please don't hand it to me. Why do I have this book in my hand? This guy's regretting getting his book in his... We're not even talking about punishment yet. We're not talking about punishment. We're just talking about getting the book in his possession. I wish I wasn't given this book. وَلَمْ أَدْرِ مَا حِسَابِيَهْ. I wish I never knew. I had no clue what account I'm going to have. Because now he has some clue what's coming. يَا لَيْتَهَا كَانَتِ الْقَاضِيَةِ. Oh, if only the death itself, al-mawtat al-ula, the first death, if only that was the end of it all. I wish that I died and never came back to life. My wealth, maliyah. This again, the high is extra. My wealth did nothing for me here. Gave me no benefits here. I can't pay any fines and get out of the ticket. I can't pay off any guards in hellfire and get out. None of my wealth came to any aid of me. And the other ma could be, what good was my wealth? How did it benefit me? Halaka anni sultaniya. My great authority. So this person is not just wealthy, he's powerful. All the power I had, all the status I had, has been ripped away from me. And I want to explain to you that actually the verb expected in this ayah was ذَهَبَ عَنِّي سُلْطَانِيَا. My authority has been removed from me. ذَهَبَ عَنِّي. But Allah uses the word هَلَكَ عَنِّي. It's not just removed, it's killed, it's taken, it's torn away. None of it is left. Something that's removed can be recovered. Something that's halak can't be recovered. خُذُوهُ فَغُلُّوهُ. Take a hold of him. Grab him. And chain him up. غُلُّوهُ. Put a lock on his neck. Put those fetters on his neck. Back in the day, if you've seen any images or heard stories about how slaves were kept, with those collars around their neck. غُلُّوهُ. They say غَلَّ فُلَانٌ أو غُلَّ فُلَانٌ في كذا. يعني دخل فيه وأدخله منه. والغل هو القيد. Put him in the prison. Ghil also means qaid, prison. And he's thrown inside. ثُمَّ الْجَحِيمَ. Then after that, into Jahim, the roaring fire. صَلُّوهُ. Throw him in. ثُمَّ فِي سِلْسِلَةٍ. Then after he's thrown in, he's got this fetter on his neck, this collar on his neck. Put a chain on it. ذَرْعُهَا سَبْعُونَ ذِرَاعًا. Whose links are 70 links long. He's been thrown from above. So where's the chain coming from? From above. And he's hanging by this chain in the fire. فَاسْلُكُوهُ. Then keep him tied and keep him connected. إِنَّهُ كَانَ لَا يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ الْعَظِيمِ. He was the one who didn't believe in the great Allah. Allah al-Azim. The great God, the great Allah. وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. And didn't encourage even feeding of the poor. Forget feeding the poor himself. He never even encouraged anybody else to do it. Didn't even incline anybody else to do it. You see, already we learned that he was a person of wealth and power. That's already been suggested. So what does that mean? People in wealth and power, both of those things come with responsibility. On the one hand, you're supposed to have even more iman than other people, because Allah has given you more than other people. You should be more grateful than other people. But you're so obsessed with your own greatness. What about Allahul Azim? On the other hand, because Allah has given you more, you should be giving more. You should be taking care of those who can't help themselves. Al-Miskin. Forget giving, you didn't even encourage giving. I've talked about this before. What does لَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينَ suggest? As a social phenomenon, you don't want to encourage other people to give, because when you encourage other people to give, the question will rise among the people, what have you given? What have you given? And then if the finger points at you, then we're like, oh yeah, I don't want to give. So let me not talk about it. So we'll have a gentleman's agreement. I won't speak about this. And so you don't ask me and I won't ask you. And why would he be the one speaking about it? Because he has wealth and power, so obviously he's a public figure. Allah says, فَلَيْسَ لَهُ الْيَوْمَ هَاهُنَا حَمِيمٌ. There's nobody out here today. For him over here, there's nobody that's a close friend to him. لَيْسَ لَهُ الْيَوْمَ هَاهُنَا حَمِيمٌ وَلَا طَعَامٌ إِلَّا مِنْ غِسْلِينَ. And there's no food for him either, except ghisleen. What's ghasala? Ghasala is to wash. Anybody here ever do the dishes? If you do the dishes, and there's a lot of them, then, and you don't, you put that thing in the sink, so that the stuff doesn't go into the sink and clog the sink. And when you're done doing not the dishwasher, I'm talking about the dishes. When you do the dishes, then you're all done, you remove the dishes, and what's left at the bottom? That gunk that you look at and go, bleh, that gunk, that's ghisleen. Ghisleen is the leftover after washing. Either food or clothes, the dirty water left after clothes are washed. So, mother's cleaning the filthy clothes of her children, and the dirty water's going into a bucket, that's ghisleen. The leftovers from the wash, that's his food. وَلَا طَعَامٌ إِلَّا مِنْ غِسْلِينَ لَا يَأْكُلُهُ إِلَّا الْخَاطِئُونَ. Nobody's going to be eating this except people that made the people of grave mistakes. خَاطِئُون, the mistake makers. Is that you have people that all they do with their life is they want their kids to have a bright future. Right? So they put them in the best schools. Their savings go towards their college, then towards getting them married. Al-Munabbih. Okay. So, and that's all they did with their life. If you look back at their life, it was until maybe they had children, they lived maybe for themselves, but after children, they lived for their kids. So they live for it. Really their life amounts to just doing something for their children. But unfortunately, one thing they weren't able to give their children is deen. It's really tragic. I know people like in New York, it's tough life. There's like a lot of people that like drive cabs for 19 hours a day, and barely and they save money and save money and say, why? Because I want my kid to live in a house in Long Island one day. Because Long Island is like Jannah from Queens. Right? So they'll work at the gas station and drive a cab and save and save and save and save and save. So one day we can move to the island. That's success. And then my kid can go to a college. That's success. And because if you're working 19 hours a day, and you're doing overtime, so you can save and save and save and save and save, so you can do this other stuff, you know what happens? You're not around for your children. You're not around for them. So you have no meaningful relationship with your kids. It's really tragic. And then these kids turn 18, 19, 20 years old and they run away from home. They leave. Or they have these alternative lives that the parents don't even know about. And then by the time they get a career, they just abandon their parents because they never really had a relationship with their parents because their parents weren't home. They were just busy building their careers. They have more meaningful conversation with their non-Muslim friends that they will ever have with their own parents. And this is how so many Muslim families in America have been ruined. Muslim families. So many. Work. No relationship with children. And then you wonder, why my children don't? And then you come to the speaker and say, brother, please talk to my children, talk about the rights of children, or the rights of parents. Well, what about the rights of children, man? Where were you? And all of this for our own children. Surah At-Tawbah is even scarier. Allah says Allah gave them, فَلَا تُعْجِبْكَ أَمْوَالُهُمْ وَلَا أَوْلَادُهُمْ. Don't be impressed with their money and their kids. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ بِهَا. Allah only wants to torture them by means of their money and their kids. That same thing you work towards your whole life becomes a means by which you're tortured. لَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. وَتَزْهَقَ أَنفُسُهُمْ. Their selves get consumed. They get eaten up from the inside. فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. And finally, وَأَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ. Spend from what we have provided you. You see, Surah Al-Jumu'ah offered the Prophet's methodology, and then a practical means by which to establish that methodology, Jumu'ah. Surah Al-Munafiqun offers a very serious problem, introduces us to a very serious problem, which is nifaq, hypocrisy, and the solution to nifaq is infaq. Same root.